John, thanks for joining us on Trots TV for this week's CEO's vlog. We just had one of the biggest weekends of harness racing here in New South Wales with the Miracle Mile meeting at Tabcorp Park, Menangle. It was a huge success.
A very big success, really. Great crowd, fantastic racing, of course. We always knew that was going to be delivered, and most importantly, the weather held for the club. 50th Miracle Mile attracted a brilliant crowd, and we look forward now, I suppose, to the 51st.
Well, you've been to all the major meetings since the reopening of the new track at Menangle. Would you say that was one of the biggest?
Oh, certainly one of the biggest. It got back to somewhere near the 2013 Inter-Dominion. It wasn't quite as good as that crowd, of course, but it wasn't quite as good as the 2008 opening, but if we ever see those days again, we suffered a fair bit of flack because we had too many people. Too many, too little, but it was a great crowd, and we really appreciated that the patrons turned out to see, as I said, some great horses racing under lights as compared to where we'd been on the Sunday afternoon.
Well, it's been a big few days for the Menangle Club. They had a meeting yesterday, 10 races, and one race had 19 horses in it.
Yeah, very disappointing that there was only 19 when the capacity is 20 for the track, and social media certainly was lit up in the wrong way. Totally the wrong way. There were calls, quite hilarious, some of those calls about it being unsafe. Well, certainly wasn't unsafe, because if it would have been, the track capacity of 20 wouldn't have been approved. There is a process to go through, and I must compliment young Tukey, who's always on the mark, or generally on the mark, or sometimes on the mark, but Tukey, he identified straight away where people should take these concerns to. And as I said, it's not a safety concern. It's a concern about what is really possible for competitive racing. And the Trotters Association, no doubt, will be coming to Harness Racing New South Wales and the club to review the maximum number of horses we can have in a standing start at Tabcorp Park, Menangle.
Yeah, well, it wasn't certainly the first trot race at Menangle with such a large field size, was it?
Well, it was the greatest field size at 19, but I can recall 18, standing start, open, so there were no handicaps, trotters race. So that's 2 rows of 9. It went without a hitch, as did that race on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, from memory, I think that other standing start was over the mile as well, whereas yesterday was the 2300. But moving on, racing always continues, and there's a feature race meeting at Wagga this Saturday night with the tab.com.au Carnival of Cups.
Yeah, Carnival Cups rolls back in. Now the Miracle Mile Carnival's over. Wagga this week, Young the following week, and I must compliment the Young Club. They're actually doing something for prostate cancer and motor neurone disease, so that's a feather in their cap. And of course, just after that, we have the brilliant Bathurst Gold Crown. So there's a frenzy on at the moment, and the frenzy is surrounding 2-year-olds being qualified, first to race and then to race before those nominations close. So we roll out of February, a magnificent month, and we go into March with even more great racing.
Okay, well, yesterday was the Harness Racing New South Wales board met for their monthly meeting, and one of the main topics of discussion was infrastructure.
Yes, the board is always looking at ways we can improve the sport, and we'll drill down a fair bit in the next couple of months on the infrastructure that we're providing at some of the tracks. Well, generally at all of the tracks, but some of the tracks that they need a bit of a lift here and there. So that's a dedicated position we will have. We'll pull in actually experts in structural and other areas to look at these tracks. So that's a positive that came out of that board meeting.
Okay, is there anything else that you wanted to talk that you could shed light on from that board meeting?
Well, the most important thing that the board does, and they do many important things, but the most important thing is the very matrix of the racing calendar in New South Wales, and that's the race dates of the clubs, because it affects so many. The board signed off on those yesterday, and they will be distributed to the clubs. Of course, there's one little rider on that. If there's a clash that is unknown to Harness Racing New South Wales, that will have to be corrected. But one of the significant moves they did introduce was that the Miracle Mile next year will be a standalone meeting on the Saturday night. There won't be a second meeting, and of course the next day the APG sales were on, and they were so successful last weekend. Well, we believe they can be even more successful. There was a little bit of a detrimental effect there with race dates and Newcastle race, so next year they'll both have a clear weekend, the Miracle Mile and the APG sales. So with APG, of course, an Australasian record price for a yearling. Yes, Maxfield Standardbreds took that horse from New South Wales, and to Peter Lewis and family and Brooklyn Lodge, congratulations to prepare a beautiful animal and sell it. That was really good. It went back to Tasmania, or will get to Tasmania eventually. But what is really interesting for participants, and we're all equal in this respect, that it was good to see Wendy Campbell. I keep on making that mistake, Amanda. It's just used to it. But Wendy and Graham Campbell and Jason and Emma securing a very high-priced $142,500 colt as well. So the administration, now Graham was the former board member of Harness Racing New South Wales, and now he's on the board of the New South Wales Harness Racing Club, the principal club in this state, and it's good to see that the administrators see a great future in this great sport that we have.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic sale on Sunday. Well, thanks for your time, John, and we'll catch up again next week for another edition of the CEO's blog.
Thank you, Amanda.